Tonight I wanna see the bright lights over me. Show me something magical. Show me everything I want and more. The best of the good life.
This weekend on Top Billing, Lions rugby star Dillon Smit finds true romance with soon-to-be attorney Suane Stapelberg. A tale of 1920s cabaret and crime is back in the international smash hit Chicago. We overnight in the trees, dine out at Plett's premier restaurant, and go with the flow at Storm's River mouth. A seal population bounces back from near extinction, and these offshore dolphins throw us a welcome party. New York fashion anthropologist Kenny Jules Morifi-Winslow sets up a designer loft apartment in Jozi. Plus, your presenter this evening, Harmony Katulondi, brings you the best of the good life from a coastal home built with the sleek lines of a super yacht.
Good evening, it's Top Billing time and welcome to the party. In case you're amazed at all the rugby players getting married this summer, it's literally the only time they can schedule in a wedding. For Lions scrum of Dillon Smit and his bride Suane Stapelberg, it was worth the wait.
With Suane a candidate attorney and Dillon playing matches in Argentina, New Zealand or Australia, time together is like gold for this couple. So they make it count.
Where did your love story begin?
Both of us went standard 9. She came into the school and funny enough, one of my best friends actually had the biggest crush on her.
And, you know, at that stage, he was the main man of the rugby. A lot of people warned me against, you know, the jocks. Don't go for the jocks.
The actual thing started on our camp.
He was so funny and hilarious, and I just thought to myself, listen, I've never met such a person in my life. Like, he's absolutely a game changer. And yeah, we fell in love.
Well, Dillon sure made time to pop the question. How did he do it?
We went to Mshlanga and we just started walking along the beach. He was holding me from the back, and then he just let go, and I was just like, why are you letting go? This is a romantic moment, I mean, come on. And then when I turned back, he was standing on one knee, and then he asked me, will I please marry him? And then obviously I said yes immediately. And the way that he captured this moment, it was just him and I, and it was so special, and it's something that I will remember for always.
The venue, with its Parisian bridge of love locks and Italian countryside styling, was pure romance. The groom's suit, more Hollywood-inspired.
To be quite honest with you, I saw this on a TV series. My favorite TV star is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So I saw this look on him on a series that he shoots, so I thought that was the look I'm going to go for. So there was no specific thing I was going for. I just saw it on him and thought it was pretty cool, so that's what I went for.
I think Suane brings out his compassionate side the most, because us as a family isn't really into emotions and so yeah, I think she really brings out that side of him.
After trying out more dresses than she cares to mention, the bride met Jacelyn Gozadinos. Her V-line design mixed the bohemian with the luxurious and reflected Suane in style and in spirit.
We had to capture Suane's personality by really ensuring that the lines were very clean and simplistic. So, yeah.
Oh my word, the way I feel in this dress, it is absolute perfection. She really captured exactly the image I had in my mind. I am absolutely in awe and in love with it.
The Muldersdrift venue could easily be in farming country around Siena or Florence in Italy. With that tone already established, Tanya Diedrichs could decorate in understated fashion.
Suane wanted a rustic and sophisticated wedding, so we played today with elements with rustic tables and lots of greenery. We added naked bulbs above the main table so that we can get that rustic look and feel, and then we added fairy lights in the ceiling just to give us that magical look.
In a setting of pared-down country romance, this triple-tier butter cake stood out. In chocolate, hazelnut, Swiss meringue, salted caramel and red velvet, finished in an amethyst rock crystal design.
So for this cake, what I really wanted to put in is these sugar flowers. That's my passion. That's really what I love doing. And the geode is actually edible, so it's something that creates visual interest, but also something that's like, is this actually edible? Well, yes, it is.
The gem inside the tough exterior is a good metaphor as far as Dillon's character goes. His fiancée has the same blend of heart and quiet determination. They had to wait for each other as his rugby and her legal studies took them in different directions after matric. Once they reconnected, they became inseparable.
Was very happy for Dillon. Obviously mates from school, but you can probably ask Kwagga. He knows more about marriages.
If you know Dillon is unique on his own, he's really a different person, and I think Suane is the only person that could ever fit with him, so we're really happy that they're together.
Sure, I think I've known Dillon now for about 3 years. Very good.
Yeah, also about 3 years. We live a kilometer away from each other, so we're quite close with him. So, but yeah, nice oak. So, top girl. So yeah, I think he married the right girl. So.
Dillon, you know, he's an outgoing, charismatic guy. She's more quiet, she's chilled, and she's a driven person. That's how I know Suane. So they complement each other because I think they give one another some of their positives.
Yeah, just enjoy every single moment. Don't have a kid too soon. Enjoy married life while you can, and then enjoy the small things while you can too.
I think he's an amazing fit. I mean, as we all know, Suane's father used to play professional rugby as well, with my father actually. And as a lawyer, I think you have to have somebody really strong, which he absolutely is.
Both in their mid-20s with excellent prospects, Mr. and Mrs. Smit can go anywhere as long as it's together. They have the blessing of Suane's father, Dillon Stapelberg.
She's not just beautiful, and I'm not arrogant about it, she's also well qualified. 3 degrees in the law, so whatever she's doing in her life, she's usually making a success of it. So we're quite proud of that, and we support her all the way.
The bride possesses all of her dad's resolve, and Dillon needs a strong partner. Their friends see his soft side too.
I think when the doors opened and I saw Dillon's face when he saw Suane, and he just started like choking up a bit. That was really sweet.
The photo booth in a classic combi reflected the journey the couple see ahead. Their careers will take them to places far and wide, collecting memories at every step, and their wedding was a dream start.
Just having, the opportunity to spend this evening with him, the love of my life and my best friend. So 100% that was the highlight for me.
The highlight for me was definitely when she walked down the aisle. That was the thing I looked forward to the most from the beginning of the day. So that was definitely the highlight of my day. She looked absolutely beautiful. Just spending time together today, just having fun and enjoying our family and friends. That was great for me.
Whatever rugby, law or life brings their way, the Smits look well equipped to keep on dancing.
Suane, your husband's team is playing such smart rugby. My bet is that they'll host a home semi and a home final. I'm sure you'll be just fine with that.
Coming up, between the rocks and a fairway is a magnificent place to be. And from its architecture to interiors, this home makes the most of it.
This week, our cliff-top location commands a sea view like the bridge of an ocean liner. But that's not all. Walk out the front door and you'll step straight onto the fairways of a golf course voted best in South Africa 2 years running.
With a situation this exceptional came the trade-off of how difficult it would be to build. The slope, height and size restrictions were each factors for developer Stian Herbst from Bouart Developments.
Stian, Mossel Bay is clearly the perfect location for this home.
Mohammed, I must say, with a setting like this, it's just amazing. And with the clients that owns the property, they couldn't have asked for anything better. This is right on the coastline, and we're truly proud of this project.
You must have had a couple of challenges building on a cliff.
It was quite a substantial challenge. There was a lot of hard work that went into this project. We couldn't dig any trenches as such. The whole house was constructed on top of a rock face. We had to excavate quite a bit of rock as well, but we're very proud at the end of the day of this project, and I think it came out like pretty much perfect.
The stand widens out into a 180-degree panorama of the Indian Ocean. To make the most of it, took bold choices.
I've noticed you've used a lot of lines and angles.
Well, the architects came up with a nice concept using the actual wedge of the stand opening up towards the coastline, and this obviously provided a lot of angles and lines, and was quite exciting build and something that you don't see every day, and that's something we're truly proud of.
The interiors reflect the influences of designer Yvonne Piet's Netherlands heritage. She sums up her approach with the Dutch word stoer, which mixes oversized furniture in greys and blacks with organic woods.
Yvonne, what are some of the design elements and pieces you used to decorate this home?
Well, instead of trying to compete with this beautiful view, we decided to work with textures and fine art photography to break all the lines and to bring some dimension into this modern interior. And so we went with African elements because they have texture, they have a story to tell.
A southern East African theme runs through the oversized sepia and black and white prints by award-winning local photographers. Framed in wood or mounted on canvas, the scale of these works matches the fittings and furniture.
I see you have an eye for interesting light fixtures.
I find that lighting is very important in any space, and I find it difficult to find the right lighting for the right space in a catalogue or in a shop. So I like to work with baskets, and I like to work with natural elements and make something accordingly. So, for example, with these 3 lights above the dining table, we had quite a robust dining table to work with. And I couldn't put 3 regimented lights hanging in a row. It wouldn't have looked right with all the curves of the live edge of the table. So we decided to group 3 oversized pendants, and we kept them transparent because we wanted to keep that view of the ocean and not obstruct the view. And I think it's worked nicely.
By creating pointed edges to the house thrust out towards the waves and walled in floor-to-ceiling glass, each room gets the greatest amount of ocean frontage.
With so many angles in the architecture of the home, surely the furniture is custom-made.
Every room has an acute angle, and we decided to work with it rather than ignore the angles. But in doing so, we've had to custom design the furniture and have it manufactured locally.
The kite-shaped side table is tailor-made, as is the organic form of the coffee table. Having artisan Meyer von Willich in nearby George made any piece possible.
Our client wanted to be able to seat 16 friends at a time. So we had to find a nice big table, which was impossible. We couldn't find it. So we went and looked for a nice slab, and we left it intact. We left the organic curves intact to give it a bit of a fluid, organic feel. And I think it's worked in this space well.
The 3/4-of-a-ton table is from a tree on a golf course, struck by lightning and then collected by Stian. The size of the wood meant they had to bring it in first, then complete the house around it.
This home is full of surprises. Why did you choose to split the levels?
Yeah, Harmony, when we started looking at the site, there was quite a big 2 boulders right around the space. So the architect actually worked around it, thinking that we won't be able to move it and actually, incorporate it within the design. And it was to be underneath the ground level with a glass covering. And during the process of building, we decided to rather leave it out because of it being too binding towards the interior. And we pushed it over, and it luckily fell over and did not damage the building process. But with that all said, this just gives you like an amphitheater approach towards this coast. When you come into this house, it feels like you just entered a yacht or anything, so it's truly amazing. I think we got it right by doing this.
And it works quite well. It actually emphasizes the view and the different living spaces, including the kitchen that is darker than usual.
Yeah, we could have stuck to the traditional lighter kitchen, But in our quest to add texture and dimension to otherwise quite stark walls, we decided to go with the dark kitchen, which we have then combined with leather and warm wood and the pressed ceiling panels, which are steel, and then stone tops, which together have formed quite a sophisticated, stylish and cozy kitchen.
And from here you still have an uninterrupted view of the ocean. But where do those stairs lead?
Well, Harmony, that staircase is basically going to the top deck. This whole roof of the property is an open deck, which is perfect for parties and functions as such. The staircase going up is also quite interesting. All these floating stairs are concrete casted stairs, which is all equipped with LED strip lighting. There was more than half a kilometer worth of strip lighting on this property. And so that's one of those small detail items that we're very proud of, and I think it looks nice, it adds a lot of value.
Yvonne only had from spring until the Christmas handover to do the interiors. While she's followed a consistent theme in color, subtly different textured wallpapers set each of the 5 rooms apart.
This is a very beautiful bedroom, especially with this view. But I'm noticing a wooden theme that continues throughout the house.
Yeah, absolutely, Harmony. We decided straight from the start that we want to have oak throughout the property and throughout the house, so that we can take the whole same look and wood and grain throughout the property and keep the similarity going. And it adds a lot of warmth to the house, and I think it came out pretty nice.
This is quite an interesting shape for a carpet. I'm used to seeing geometric shaped carpets.
Well, there's nothing geometric about this room, about any of the rooms, in fact, in the whole house, with all the acute angles, and not wanting to ignore them, but to work with them, we've decided to also cut the shape and size in each room of the carpet to fit the space. In fact, all the rooms are furnished and decorated more or less in the same way. So the carpet has the angle, and then we have the oak wood and the headboard and the wooden bed. Depending on how large the room is, that's how we furnish the room.
The Gauteng couple who commissioned this home wanted 5 bedrooms, each en suite, as well as several different spaces for enjoying life at the sea. Downstairs is devoted to everything you'd like to do by the coast without leaving the house.
Wow, this is a space every entertainer would love to have. Playing pool, by the ocean. Stian, let's get to business. Oh, that's a great break. I guess that's what this room is about, right?
Yes, this room is different from upstairs in that it's the entertainment room. So here we can play pool, we can watch TV, there's a braai, there's a bar, and you can sit around the table and entertain and enjoy your food together. It's a really cozy, comfortable room.
The only thing Stian's neglected is his pool game.
Oh, better luck next time. Let me show you how it's done. The best of a good life.
Designed like a super yacht, the house offers an endless cruise. The bow looks out over this, and in the stern is the 18-hole Pinnacle Point golf course.
Sitting on this beautiful balcony, enjoying this majestic view, it's clear that all this hard work was worth it. How do you feel looking at your final product?
It's quite an experience. I mean, from the first brick that was laid until the finished product as it is now. I mean, it's such a great satisfaction, it's like the ultimate feeling.
And then to see the expressions on the faces of the clients as they walk in that first time, it just makes everything worth it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, this is officially my favorite part of the home. Thank you so much for spending the day with me and showing me around. Cheers.
Thanks.
For the couple who get to escape here, whatever work hours they're putting in to afford this lifestyle is worth it.
If the owners are ever thinking of expanding their family, I'd happily volunteer, even if it's just for the holidays.
Next up, the multi-award-winning musical Chicago is back, and so is the natural seal population in the Tsitsikamma National Park.
It's got everything you want in a crime thriller. Two femme fatales competing for fame or infamy, and either will do. A lawyer caught between the two, and the whole affair playing out between a cabaret and a city prison. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, Chicago is back.
It's the longest-running musical revival in Broadway history. And this production, with an all-South African cast, is on a year-long international tour.
Philip, Chicago the Musical is an iconic production. What has the experience been like taking it across the globe?
It is so beautifully directed and thought through and subtle. It's also quite a challenge because it's cut to the bare bones. There's no huge set. There are no magnificent costumes. The actors are, in fact, very, very exposed. So it demands an enormous amount of truth in playing it.
The dance sequences were originally designed by Oscar-winning choreographer Bob Fosse. Darren Greef is keeping the dancing at that level.
You've trained the cast in perfecting the iconic dance numbers of Bob Fosse. How intense have the rehearsals been?
The audition process was crazy. I was shocked. We had so many people coming in, and we had our production team from New York that came in. And we had, I think in the first group of girls, there were about 100 girls that came in. And within the first 5 minutes, I think we were left with 20. Because it's such a specific look, it's such a specific style, it's such a specific way of picking things up. The training throughout that was an intense 6-week dance training where it was training everybody the Fosse style authentically. So we're not here just kicking a leg, we're not here just doing a turn or just a hand movement. There's a thought process behind every movement.
Samantha Pio and Carmen Pretorius play the roles of Velma Kelly and Roxy Hart, two women standing trial for dispatching their lovers.
Roxy and Velma's characters are so intertwined throughout the show. What was it like working alongside Carmen?
I mean, we've known each other for so long, and we've always had a beautiful sense of chemistry and understanding anyway off stage.
Sammy's my mentor, so I'm super excited to work with you.
And so, yeah, just on stage, it's really helped our chemistry, and we've been supportive of each other, and it's just been, I think, the best partnership.
And to have her having played Roxy, to learn from that is a great asset. To have someone who's supportive of me playing it now, you know, she's handed it over.
Well, she's a star, so.
Craig Avani has the happy task of spending each night on stage surrounded by gorgeous, competitive, feisty women with a passion for self-promotion.
Why is Billy one of your favorite characters to play, and tell us about him?
I play Billy Flynn, who's like this smooth, suave lawyer who he's never lost a case. He gets all these murderesses off. He's very cool, eloquent. He's somewhat immoral, you know, he'll do whatever it takes to win. But the idea is that he gets them off and the audience love him for it. And you do, and that's part of the charm of the piece, and the kind of irony of the piece is that you love and feel for these unsavory characters because they're presented in the most charming, beautiful, eloquent way.
When you're good,
The worst elements of human nature make for a compelling storyline, sung by top artists like Ilse Klink, with the backing of a live 11-piece orchestra.
Ilse, you play Mama Morton, who's quite a complex character. How would you describe her, and what would you say is her main motive?
Well, I think Mama Morton's main motive for everything is money. That's all she wants, really. But she does care about the girls in the jail. She's the mama. She takes care of these women because she does care that if anything happens to them, she feels responsible and she feels like their parent.
The show is based on a play written by a Chicago journalist in the mid-1920s, and Elzari Botha gets the flapper-era hairdos spot on.
I've been chatting to the cast, having so much fun with them all day. I practically feel like I'm one of them already.
Well, we can make you one of them if you want to.
I would love that.
I've
I've always wanted to be in Chicago. So being in charge of all the wigs, what does that entail?
Well, we come in every single day, 3 hours before the time, style the wigs. It's quite difficult because it's all real hair, so it reacts the way your own hair would. So in each city it will be different. So it can frizz, the curl can fall out. So we style it. Once a week we wash it and reset it. And then hour before the show, the girls come in and we put it on their heads.
Goodness. What do you think?
I think you look amazing.
Yeah, you and half of Chicago.
But all you need now is some red lips.
This musical is a celebration of the little black dress, and Sue Daniels turns it into an art form.
What makes this wardrobe unique?
The fact that it's all black, besides Billy that's got a bit of white and Amos that's got a little bit of cream in. Each character is sexy and sleek and each costume is made for that person that makes the whole storyline come together.
Well, I've got the hair, I've got the lips, I just need the outfits.
Let's try and complete the outfit.
Chicago runs at Artscape Cape Town until the 14th of April, then at Monte Cassino's Teatro in Johannesburg from the 20th of April to the 26th of May.
From lockdown to the freedom of the seas, I get to witness how the first ever marine reserve in the world has become a playground for dolphins, seals, and whales. Next up, we're on an ocean safari just off Titicama.
The forests of the garden route and the fisheries off this coast were once treated as a limitless resource. Today, tourism is the renewable resource driving the economy. And a century after Beacon Island was a whaling station, this is where Tony Lubner now runs a thriving eco-tourism business.
Hey Tony, I'm on this amazing adventure. What do you feel makes the garden route a very popular travel destination?
Besides this beautiful sunrise, we have this privilege of being in this place that is right next to the oldest marine protected area in the world, the Titicama Reserve. There's no boats that can go in there, no fishing can take place there. So fish are allowed to breed, and those fish breed into these waters and it's taken on this conveyor belt of currents that we sit right on the cusp of. So this bay is just full of life. We got whales, we got dolphins, we got seals, we had orcas last week, there's seabirds, it's a proper game reserve out there.
Not having a harbour here is part of the natural appeal of Plett. But it's meant Central Beach having to develop its own solution for launching boats into the surf. A powerful 4x4 tractor thrusts the boat to the water's edge, and the laws of motion take over from there. For skipper Nino Steerman, it sure beats sitting in traffic on the way to work.
Nino, my man, you look like you are killing it in the back here. You definitely know what you're doing. How long have you been with Ocean Blue?
Yo, man, I'm like furniture. I've been here for about 16 years. After years being in the retail industry.
Wow.
And I love it here.
This is quite an iconic landmark. As soon as you see it, you know you're in Plettenberg Bay.
We actually are looking at the Peninsula Roebuck as it's this unique, beautiful geographical landmark. The rock structure and the fauna and the flora species, quite unique. The Falkland Islands, if you think how far the Falkland Islands are to Plettenberg Bay, but most of the fauna and flora species of which you'll get within this peninsula, same as the Falkland Islands.
Swimming at speeds of 60 kilometers an hour, these common dolphins bow ride on boats and even on the bow wave made by whales. A more permanent cast of characters are the Cape Fur seals, who've reclaimed a prize stretch of Plettenberg Bay real estate.
I see why they call it rubber. I've never seen so many seals in one place.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's about 4,000 seals here. They're a protected species. 1945, there was not one seal left here. They had slaughtered them for their pelts and for their oils. And since they've been protected, we've now got a very healthy colony. And in the last 4 or 5 years, they've actually started now having their pups here. And every now and again you can hear, it sounds like a little lamb, the bleating of the babies. Oh, there you go.
I love how all this ocean life works and lives together, from the seals to the cormorants to the dolphins.
Well, you know what? It is perfect harmony. It is nature. But there's a whole lot of social interaction that's going on here. You'll see sitting right at the top are these very big males. And to get there, they would have had to fight their way to get to the top. So there's a real hierarchy. The new seals that come into the colony, they tend to hang out more on the outside fringe. And slowly, as they get more and more accepted, they come closer to the main colony.
So the top guys are the popular ones.
The top guys are the top dogs.
For Harmony, it was the guest stars who stole the show.
So my highlight for today definitely has to go to the dolphins. I wanted to jump in and swim with them.
You know, common dolphin are normally found very far offshore. So it's not that common for us to see them. And especially to see them coming so far inshore, and they were just behind the break. And as you see, they are always moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So to catch them at a time when they're coming past, when you're on the boat and that piece of water, is unusual. So you were very blessed today.
Well, I'm glad they came because they definitely made my day.
Yeah, well, me too.
It's the fine dining on many local species of fish and squid which brings the dolphins in. And for that, we can thank the visionaries behind the Tsitsikamma National Park.
There is a picture of conservation we can all relate to. Give Mother Nature some peace, quiet, and a little space and time to work her magic, and she'll take care of the rest.
Coming up, this treetop lodge is a nest fit for royalty. Dinner is served in Plett, and Storms River is surprisingly zen.
This week, I'm styling as I take in the treetop villas that make Tala Lodge such a must-stay destination on the garden route. And then it's dinner at Plett's top-voted eatery and onto a chilled approach to adventure at Storms River mouth.
After a full morning's ocean safari, heading west from Plettenberg Bay and just off the N2, this age-old indigenous forest was our home for the weekend. Tala Treetop Lodge sits in the canopy and was developed on the imaginary theme of a civilization lost to history but rediscovered. They used stone from the nearby Robberg quarries and recycled invasive tree species culled from the forest. The decor is proudly African, drawing on the best cultural design from every corner of the continent.
Corin, thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful venue. I see where the name comes from. It seems as though we are suspended within the trees.
Oh, Harmony, thank you for being here with us. Tala means elevated resting place, and we do find ourselves within this beautiful indigenous forest, about 10 k's from Plettenberg Bay, 20 k's from Knysna, so right in the heart of the garden route. And yes, we are a place where magic happens, all cocooned and safely within the treetops.
I can just feel that this is going to be a magical experience. What makes Tala so popular, and what do you offer your guests?
Well, apart from the fact that we are so nice and central in the garden route, and therefore people can use us as a base to explore lots of activities in the area, we also have 10 beautiful suites and 6 two-bedroom villas right here in the treetops, each with its own private plunge pool where you can have a refreshing swim after a day out. It's an amazing place where people can come and just relax.
A mild year-round climate means the walkways are a breeze to navigate. And with the natural screening and soundproofing of the canopy, each villa is an island of privacy.
This view will take your breath away, especially at these heights. It makes me feel like I'm in a treehouse for adults, surrounded by pure luxury. Add a plunge pool, and I feel like I'm home.
This is home for Ian Hunter, whose parents opened the nearby Hunter's Country House 40 years ago. And so the tradition continues.
Ian, this place is phenomenal. What makes Tala a one-of-a-kind place to stay?
I think the first shot has to go out to this beautiful location up in the forest. You know, it's quite an extraordinary sight. a site that is very near and dear to us as a family. We called it the Fairy Glen. It's a place we used to come to when we were very young indeed, and it deserves something beautiful like Tsala. So I think that's probably the essence of what the place is all about first, and then the way that we've woven the intimate relationship between us living in the treetops here and these beautiful suites and villas where we have the ironies of water and fireplaces in the trees, all working in a treehouse, which is quite extraordinary, I think, and maybe provides a bit of the magic.
Tsitsi Kama is a Khoi word for place of abundant, sparkling water. And with the lodge getting the water up here, Harmony wasn't about to waste it. Fresh from having his horizons expanded, our presenter made his way to Zinzi's, rated the top restaurant in Plett, thanks in no small part to head chef Gina Chaplin.
Gina, what do I have the privilege of tasting today?
First up is our Chalmar beef fillet steak tartare. It is served with a gremolata and a creamed egg yolk. Next up, I've got a beetroot and orange cured gravlax. It is served with beetroot puree, creme fraiche and yuzu pearls. For main course, I've got my speciality, the Durban lamb curry, as well as a Norwegian seared salmon with a chili and ginger glaze, served with a cashew and coconut rice.
Well, I really do feel it's going to taste as great as it looks.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy it.
The menu of wines won platinum at the Diners Club Wine List Awards.
Wow. The lamb curry was tender, the gravlax had such a beautiful texture, but what really stood out for me was the yuzu pearls and how they popped with so much flavor. Oh Zinzi, Aksanti Sana, you have truly lived up to your multi-award-winning status.
Late summer evenings on the garden route are topped by having another full day to explore. And a highlight of the Tsitsikamma National Park is Storms River mouth. Our guide Zvonele Mdletshe had prepared more modes of river navigation than we knew even existed.
By the looks of things, you offer an abundance of activities.
Here in Tsitsikamma, here at Untouched Adventures, on our side, we offer a Kaken Lalo activity, which is the most popular one. And then we do also an adventure trip. The adventure trip is 3-in-1. We do liloing, and then we also do the anvils.
What do I have to remember when doing water activities?
You've got the life jacket. You need to zip the life jacket up on. And then you also need to clip the helmets as well. Safety is very important one, and then stay calm and relax. Most of all, remember to enjoy. That's what you're here for.
This kayak adventure is the antidote to the all-action water sports more traditionally associated with beach holidays. Some psychological tests of character put stock in whether you prefer stormy seas to deep, quiet pools of water. Whatever it says about you, if calm and cool is your thing, then this is the trip for you.
I think kayaking might just be the best way to experience this gorge.
Yes.
All this peace and quiet makes you feel like you're one with nature.
Yes. But now we still have to go into our lilo. We need to go further up more. But now on our lilo, what you need to do is the most of your weight it must be in the middle and at the back, and then you just lie and then you're pedaling with your hands up there.
All right, let's try it.
The world-renowned Otter Trail is the more famous cousin of this inland river expedition, but it depends what you're in the mood for. These deep caves and the ancient forests above them are fertile surrounds for deep thought, except when someone makes a race of it. If any budding filmmakers out there are looking for an original story on an African warrior tradition, then this clay runoff is made to order natural war paint. Then again, these lilos are made for chilling, and why fight it?
The last time I went kayaking, I never used fins, so what are these for?
Yes, that's the question I was waiting for. The anvil is just a half kayak, a small boat of the kayak. And then now where you are on the anvil, you just lie half body into the anvil and then half body is into the water. Now you need this one to kick using with your feet. Then when you kick and then you're moving nice and slowly into the water.
Zibonele has come a long way from the warmer waters of his KZN home province to explore Storms River. And he wouldn't trade it for anywhere.
Not even lean on this side. Wow. It's amazing the amount of fun you have on this adventure trip. Today was a good day.
Yeah, it was a good day, but we're not done yet. You still have to follow me on the cliff jumping. Now let's go for it. Follow me.
Cliff jumping?
Yes. You're gonna see it for yourself.
Taking the plunge is what attracted Zibonele. The same leap of faith which brought Ian Hunter's family to set up their first hotel. To the bold, or just those in need of escape, this stretch of South African coastline offers no end of reward.
Whether it's the place you stay, where you eat, or how you get your thrill on, when 5 stars just aren't enough to rate your experience, you know you're on the garden route.
Coming up, content creator Kenny Jules Morifi-Winslow could live in London or New York, but only has eyes for Jozi.
One of the greatest thinkers in history held the view that an unexamined life is not worth living. It helps if that life is as fascinating as the one lived by blogger, foodie, designer, fashionista, and citizen of the world, Kenny Jules Morifi-Winslow.
Back from the Big Apple and gaining her master's in fashion studies, Kenny's a content creator who's worked on big brand campaigns, published her first book at 23, and designed her own apartment.
What I really love is that each room has a different vibe, feeling, mood. I try to create an atmosphere in each of the living spaces. So for example, the entrance hall is kind of edgy and cold and dark. It gives you this grown-up, mature, lofty kind of feel. But then moving into the greater living space, I wanted to have more of a warm feeling. So I added carpets and hides to the floor to warm up the concrete floor. And in the kitchen, I wanted to bring in more of a farmhouse feel to it. So a lot of wood, a lot of cutting boards, exposed shelving so you can see all the knickknacks and interesting little bits, but still maintaining the concrete counters, which I really love.
You're quite the DIY girl. Talk me through some of the items that you've refurbished and repurposed.
Well, to keep with that industrial loft feel, I actually go to a bunch of junkyards and I troll looking for these pieces that are diamonds in the rough, that just need a little love. One of the proudest items that I've refurbished while doing up this place was actually this industrial bar unit. It was a steel workbench and it was rusty beyond vision, and I took it home and my mom and I hand sanded it, and then we sent it off to be powder coated and turned it into this exquisite, unique bar unit.
Home was always more of an idea than an address for a child who grew up wherever her mother's work or her studies took her. From Cape Town to Singapore, London, and New York.
Having lived all over the world, what made you decide to settle here?
It was actually a very difficult decision to leave New York, but based on the work that I do in my research, I was writing about South African and African cultures, and I felt it necessary to return to the place that I was studying to really immerse myself in the work that I was doing. The kind of niche fashion study that I do is also a very niche market, but the fashion industry as a whole is very saturated in New York. So I knew that to carve out a lane for myself, an individual space, it would have been easier to return to South Africa and establish that name for myself here.
Kenny lives her subject. An anthropologist studies the daily habits and values of human beings. Her speciality is the role fashion plays in our lives, jobs, communities, and politics.
Welcome to my bedroom.
Oh, I just fall deeper and deeper in love with your space.
It's the light. It's definitely the windows and the light that streams in here. The only problem is first thing in the morning, the sun shines directly on my face.
And you have to get up.
You have to get up, 6 a.m. every day.
As part of her busy working day, Kenny looks at pieces of design, art and style as the clues to how a culture identifies itself.
I'm a huge fan of jewelry and I love our African heritage and all the different cultures that exist on the continent. So I have a huge affinity for this Kenyan designer. Her name is Adele Dejak, and she makes these plated brass rings in particular that are actually in the shapes of Adinkra symbols. Adinkra symbols were like an ancient language that I kind of have a deep love for, and it translates into this jewelry, and it feels like you're wearing a piece of history, a piece of culture, a piece of language.
The Morifi-Winslow fashion focus deals with the mechanics and ethics of how we make clothes, as symbolized in this piece.
One of my favorite objects that I have in this room is that Malian textile stamp that's on the shelf above my bed. It's hand-carved wood that textile designers in Mali would use to print fabrics and textiles to create those beautiful patterns that we all know and love. So I think that is one of the few objects in my home that really exemplifies what fashion anthropology means to me. It's not just about the garment that you wear, it's about who made it, where it comes from, and the story of how it got there.
You know, even though you have a minimalistic approach to your clothing, I quite like the fact that everything is very well thought out. So how does that all fit into your overall style?
I like to dress more minimalist. I have the same color palette. I'm the kind of girl who'll buy the same thing in all the colors that they have. And then I use really interesting pieces like these, like the ones I just showed you, to accent my looks and kind of communicate a little bit more about my personality and what I'm interested in.
So is this all the content that you put into your blog, Third Citizen?
I hope so. I mean, I named it Third Citizen for the 3 countries that I'm a citizen of, hence the Third Citizen. But I really do like to focus on the food and design cultures that I study in my research and kind of emulate in my life.
Speaking about food, I know that you're vegan and I'm up for a healthy snack.
Well, I have got a little surprise in store for you. Let's go back downstairs.
In between several careers, Kenny finds cooking to be her best therapy.
So we're going to take our protein powder, our maca powder, baobab powder and chia seeds, and that is us. So what I like to do is when your bananas get a little bit too ripe, I'm not much of a baker. My mom would say make banana bread.
Yes.
But I can't do that, so I freeze them and then I put them into smoothies.
Because it's easy to lose sight of the practical applications of her studies, Kenny's blog posts are relatable, engaging, and consumable in bite-sized chunks. A feast of photographs, recipes, and phrases make her message irresistible.
There we go, lunch is served.
And aluminium straws, nice touch.
Of course, I'm a conscious consumer.
Just the way I love it. You've recently become vegan. What are some of your opinions regarding the food industry?
I feel very passionately about conscious consumption in general. So when it comes to food, that means really knowing where your food comes from, how it's made, how it's prepared. And I like to be very aware of what I'm putting into my body. I feel you wear your insides on the outside. So I want to glow, I want to feel fresh and healthy. So when it comes to fashion, you can apply a lot of the same theories and ideas, knowing where your clothing comes from, what it's made out of, who's making it. Really being conscious about the things that you are spending your money on, your buying power. I feel like we forget that we have so much power, but when you are awake and aware of how you spend it and can spend it wisely, that kind of thing matters.
These ideas are central to her new book on how she became vegan, the recipes and insights she's gathered, and how they reflect in her design.
Kenny, what tips do you have for us to live your fabulous curated life?
When it comes to content creation in particular, I have styled my life and my home and my work in a way that reflects into the content I create. So I don't feel that there's a disconnect between who I am on the internet or in the public eye versus who I am at home in my space. It has a very coherent feeling and mood and color palette and aesthetic to it that then becomes easy to translate into your work, which is crucial when you're a content creator.
I feel so challenged to up my Instagram game after this. Thank you so much for allowing me to spend a day in your fabulous and really beautiful life.
Thank you so much for spending the day with me.
This content creator does the hard yards, considering what's important, then making it easy for the rest of us to digest.
Kenny Jules Morifi-Winslow. With a handle like that, how could you not grow up to be someone extraordinary? Whichever of tonight's features rocked your world, join the party on #TopBilling. Tell us about it. And until next week, good night, South Africa, and God bless.
The best of the good life continues next weekend as designer Tebe Makuku credits his dazzling London and Paris Fashion Week shows to the women in his life. We escape to the Namib coast and scale the tallest dunes on planet Earth. And our location is the home of stylist Hanan Botma and marketing ace Julius Swart.